Hi everybody! Today we're doing the last day of notes. Sorry if I'm not very enthusiastic. I just did this whole video and I have no idea where it went. So I have to redo it. Yay! Well, that's good. It might be shorter then. Today we're doing our last notes on Unit 5. It is standard form. So this is the third and final form of linear equations that you will need to know. The first one was point slope. Then we did slope intercept. This is standard form. Okay? So standard form looks like this. ax plus by equals c. And you should know that a, b, and c are integers, meaning they're numbers. Okay? They are not fractions. They are not decimals. They are integers. So, yeah. Standard form has some rules that go along with it. So let's talk about those. First rule is no fractions, which we just said. Okay? So there are only no fractions in these equations. Second thing is that a at the front cannot be a 0. Okay, so that will be a number other than 0. Also, a cannot be a negative. Yeah, I'm recording at the end of the day too, which is really sad. I had it all done before the bell. Alright, that's what I get for being prepared. And then the last and final one is that there are no common factors between all three numbers. So if they can all be divided by the same number, you need to do that division and reduce that number. Okay? So also you should know that the numbers in standard form don't actually represent anything. Like slope-intercept, you got the slope and a y-intercept. Point slope, you have a point and a slope. Standard form doesn't give that kind of information. That's a little bit more to find it. So it's not used very often when you have to graph, but we'll try. Example 1, we have to change it to standard form. Now when you're going from point slope to standard form, you need to stop off at slope-intercept form. You can't get from point slope to standard without stopping at slope-intercept first. Okay, so I'm going to get y by itself to get the slope-intercept. So first thing I need to do is distribute the 2. Gives me y minus 3 equals 2x minus 1/2, because this became 2 over 4, so I reduced it. Add 3 to both sides, so you get y equals 2x plus 5/2. Now I can go to standard form, which has the x and the y on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. I get negative 2x plus y equals 5/2. Now, it looks like standard form, but this is not actually standard form because it's breaking a few rules. One of the rules is that the front number, the a, is negative. We can't have that. So to counter that, what we do is just multiply every term by negative 1. Okay? So negative 2 times negative 1 gives me positive 2. 1 times negative 1 gives me negative 1. 5/2 times negative 1 gives me negative 5/2. The second rule that it's breaking is that it has a fraction here. There should be no fractions whatsoever. So to undo the fraction, what we do is we multiply every term again by the denominator of that fraction, so we can get rid of it. So I'm going to multiply everything by 2. 2 times 2 gives me 4. Negative 1 times 2 gives me negative 2. Negative 5/2 times 2, the 2's cancel out, just leaves me with negative 5. Okay? Now, I don't have a 0 in the front, and I don't have a common factor between 4, negative 2, and negative 5. 4 and 2, yes, have a common factor. I can divide them both by 2, but I can't do that with 5. So, because it doesn't work with all 3, I'm good. It can stay right there. To try on your own, you're going to do is changing slope-intercept to standard form, which is a little bit easier than the example. A little less work you have to do. But go ahead and try this. If you have a question, you can write it down. We'll go over the answer in class and the process as well. So, alright, example 2, we have to change to slope-intercept form. So that just means getting y by itself. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and subtract x from both sides. I get negative 2y equals negative x plus 5. And divide everything by negative 2. So it comes out to be y equals 1/2 x minus 5/2. Okay? I gave you the hard one now. You got to change it to point slope form. On your notes, it says, hint, change it to slope-intercept form first, and then you can just go from slope-intercept to point slope, which is what you've been doing this whole unit. So you can do it that way. Alright? Try it on your own. We'll go over the process. We're all going to have different answers depending on what point we picked. So, Yeah, we'll go over that in class as well. Now, here's what standard form is really helpful with. It helps you find the x-intercepts. All right. So just a reminder, the x-intercepts and the y-intercepts actually gives you both. So x-intercept, remember, is x comma 0 and y-intercept is 0 comma y. So basically what we're doing is we're plugging in 0 for one of these variables. When we plug in 0 for one of them, that whole term turns to 0 and disappears. We did this during Unit 3. This was actually a test question on your Unit 3 functions test. So it should be familiar to you. So here's the example. If I'm trying to find the x-intercept, I'm going to plug in 0 for the y. That whole term turns into 0, so it just leaves me with 3x equals 12. I then divide both sides by 3, giving x equals 4, and it comes out to be 4 comma 0. Okay? Do the same thing with the y-intercept, but now you're plugging in 0 for the x. That whole term disappears, so I get negative 4y equals 12. Divide everything by negative 4. You get y equals negative 3, and we get 0 comma negative 3. I just realized this is not in full screen. Oh well. Okay, but those are my x and y intercepts, and knowing that, it's really helpful because those are 2 points that are easy to graph. Okay, so if you had to graph it, I would find the x and y intercept and just plot those, and there you go. All right, so here I'm going to show you a trick to help you find slope for standard form. If I was trying to, like, if this was my form, this is standard form, I know I'm weird, but if I didn't have any numbers and I was trying to get it in slope intercept, I'd be still trying to get y by itself. So I'm going to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract ax from both sides. I get by equals negative ax plus c. Divide everything by b. The m comes out to be negative a. Like, I get this. The m is negative a over b. So that's, if you can remember negative a over b, it's the negative of whatever a is divided by the number, like whatever b is. Okay? So slope is negative a over b. Y-intercept was actually c over b. Whatever c was over whatever b was. And x-intercept you get by doing c over a. Okay? So those are like little formula tricks you can use. If you can memorize them, you can use them all you want. Okay? And then your last try on your own is to graph this. So my hint is to find the x and y intercepts, and you can graph those 2 points. If you want to get it to slope intercept form and graph it that way, you are more than welcome to. There's lots of different ways you can do this. Okay? So I'm going to let you try that on your own, and we will go over this next class. And that's all I have for you. And you should be happy that I lost the other document because I just cut about 4 minutes off of this video. So I will see you next class. You have a good day. I'm going to make sure I actually save it this time to be very helpful. Okay? Bye!